I'm Ray Collier, and I'm your host today. Previously, we explored the legalities of the new UK Cybersecurity and Resilience Bill, or CSRB as I'll call it here. This webinar aims to explain how SMEs will be impacted by the new legislation and will also cover general cybersecurity and business resilience for SMEs as well. Today we have three guests, no less. Paul Addis, Managing Director of MicroSystem Support, will share his experiences as an SME and IT solutions provider. And then we have Neil Jensen, CEO, and Monty Quick, Head of Business Development, both from our valued partner, Terra Computers, who will be sharing how the Acronis cybersecurity toolset can help SMEs be safer, more resilient, and compliant. Paul, thank you for joining us. Obviously, we know each other, but would you like to tell us a little bit more about MicroSystem Support and the company's cybersecurity journey and experiences as an SME?
MicroSystem Support are an IT sales and services company. We've been around for the last 30 years. We're based down in Somerset. We deal with a range of different sectors from SMEs to large corporates, and our predominant sort of businesses in the defense sector. The challenges to businesses and in particular SMEs with security risks are becoming increased. There's been lots of attacks as publicized recently in the press. So it really is important for SMEs to start taking action and to be vigilant. Also, as part of many corporate supply chains, we need to demonstrate our commitment to ensuring our systems are secure and even for ourselves to ensure business continuity. Upcoming changes in legislation with the introduction of the UK Cybersecurity Bill later this year mean that we need to try and get ahead of the game and ensure that everything that's going to be put forward to us is addressed as early as possible. MicroSystem is already quite a way down the journey with cybersecurity. We've taken on board some best of breed tools and services and processes, which we'd like to share with yourselves and other SMEs. And also we can provide some services to help you along that path also.
Thanks, Paul. So why do you think SMEs are so much at risk?
I think really SMEs are seen as quite vulnerable to attackers. There's limited budgets and sometimes no or limited IT technical expertise and resources because companies are focusing on their main core business as opposed to IT and IT concerns. Also, there's lots of legacy or unsupported systems, especially in manufacturing, for example. There's multiple tools to manage, which sometimes becomes difficult, especially with security. Dependence on third parties, especially with cloud providers of late. Insufficient security procedures and staff training, which really is an area that a lot of companies haven't got in place, but is so easy to address and probably one of the first things that should be addressed. And also compliance pressures on data protection and the like, and also different standards. For typically, also this one's another sort of standard, the cybersecurity bill. So there's lots of regulations that companies have to deal with, and really sometimes those things are pushed to one side. So SMEs are particularly at risk. They're seen as an easy target, and 43% of cyber attacks target SMEs, really because some of the tools and the processes are not in place. There's also it's seen as a really easy way into supply chains for larger companies if they know that the SMEs are supplying into those sort of sectors and those companies. There's a general increase in cyber attacks as probably everyone knows, and use of new technologies and AI has also made it easier for the attacks to happen. And for SMEs, the average breach cost can cripple small companies if their service is down, or the implications of a cyber attack and the reputation of the companies.
I mean, attackers going through third parties and the supply chain, that's a really critical one. I remember a couple of years ago, there was the attack on the National Health Service in the UK that had serious consequences. And that wasn't a direct attack. That was actually through one of their providers, actually. So attackers are aware of this. They're going through the supply chain, and this is another reason why supply chain is so central to the Cybersecurity and Resilience Bill, the CSRB. That's why the supply chain has been brought into the process very much more so than before. From your experience, what would you say the business impact is on SMEs?
Yeah, I think that the business impact in terms of operational disruption, downtime, lost productivity, there's financial loss in terms of potentially a ransom or recovery of data, fines with the new cybersecurity bill if you're within that sort of area. Reputational damage is probably one of the biggest things of all, and loss of customer trust. And the business impact really on trying to keep up to date and ensure that the protection and compliance to keep those supply chains is kept up to date and to keep the business.
So the CSRB is meant to help businesses be more secure and resilient. So how does the bill impact SMEs?
The direct impact, a lot of small businesses will be exempt from direct regulation, but certain categories are legally bound by the bill. Managed service providers, for example, people with data centers and designated critical suppliers in certain industries, regardless of size, where they're seen as critical. So essential services like healthcare or energy, for example. For in-scope SMEs, there's stricter incident reporting. You have to report near misses of cyber breaches, have to notify customers that there has been a breach, and there are some severe penalties if those regulations are not followed. Okay, so there are indirect ripple effects for all SMEs, even if not directly regulated. A lot of the SMEs will feel the impact of the bill through the supply chain. There's going to be increased scrutiny. A lot of companies are going to be asked to ensure that they have Cyber Essentials and ISO 27001, as well as other standards. I know for ourselves, working in the defense industry, there's also a new defense standard for cybersecurity, which we'll be looking at and adhering to fairly shortly. There's going to be contractual changes, I'm sure. Supply chains are going to demand that SMEs sort of flow down some of the things that they have in place. So there'll be formalized cybersecurity requirements within that supply chain. There's going to be a shift in risk profile. Larger organizations are going to harden their defenses even more so. And so attackers are going to probably target more on the SMEs as a way into critical supply chains.
Thanks, Paul. So Jonathan McDonald from Osborne Clark gave us a brilliant overview last year about CSRB, where we are, where we were then, because things are moving. Can you give us a quick update on what's been happening since December, actually?
Yes, certainly. On January the 6th this year, the bill received its second reading in the House of Commons. Today, 3rd of February, Public Bill Committee scrutiny begins. Mid-2026 is expected that it will have royal assent and make it an Act of Parliament. And then late 2026-27, phased implementation is expected with some enhanced government powers taking effect almost immediately.
So things are really moving quite quickly, actually. If you think about how long it takes to get prepared, just from a regulatory point of view, I think it obviously makes sense for anyone to start speaking to providers like MSS to learn more about how they can be compliant so they're not just caught at the last minute. So what sort of steps do you feel SMEs really need to take to become compliant, or even without compliance, be safe and secure and business resilient, of course?
Yes, there's some really simple things that companies can employ right now to improve their security and cybersecurity. Enabling MFAs, keeping software up to date, maintaining secure backups and testing restores, train staff regularly on cybersecurity awareness and have processes in place. A lot of companies don't even have some of those processes, so that's really important. Implement monitoring of IT infrastructure to ensure that systems are up to date and that there's no reports of any breaches. Have clear incident response plans. Look at implementing tools or managed services to provide that sort of security and monitoring, and get certified with standards. So Cyber Essentials as a start point, really, and ensure that those procedures and processes are already in place, and then move along to things like ISO 27001 and defense cyber certification if you're involved in the defense sector. So most breaches start with human error, so it's really important to have those processes in place, and also to separate out personal accounts from business accounts, because that really, social engineering remains a big threat in terms of mixing those two together. Regular engaging and awareness of training of cybersecurity. All companies should really have a program in place to make sure that the staff are aware of some of those security implications, and that the things are being followed in the right manner, and really to police those procedures effectively and ensure that there's regular audits and checks on various things such as account privileges or whether accounts are not used anymore. So those type of things that really are important. Going on to frameworks and the like, so Cyber Essentials has been around for quite a while, and there's Cyber Essentials Plus, which is the audited version where somebody comes in and checks the answers that you give to the audit. Essential really for all companies. ISO 27001, we've already got ISO 9001, which is the quality standard in place. 27001 is a follow-on from that. We're working towards that, and hopefully we'll get that within the next few months. And also adherence to this bill, the UK Cyber Security and Resilience Bill, which brings in some additional measures which we're working on, and hopefully we're just about there with. And cyber insurance, actually, as part of our wider risk strategy. With Cyber Essentials, most companies offer a cyber insurance option with that as well, but it is really important. If your business goes down because of a cyber attack, then you really need to get that covered, as an SME particularly.
It's really good to know that there are frameworks in place and processes that can help people become safer and more business resilient and be compliant at the same time. It's really good to know that. Otherwise, I think it can be quite daunting, thinking that there's all these issues that they have to face, and not knowing that there's clear steps to address them. So what from an action plan point of view, what do you recommend?
There's lots of things that SMEs can do. Assess the risk and prioritize critical systems, apply defenses such as MFAs and backups and training, plan recovery tests and contingency tests, use MSPs such as ourselves, or get tools in place to manage and monitor systems. Next steps for SMEs would be to conduct a security and cyber risk review to look at what systems are critical, and sort of put some priority to some of those systems and ensure that procedures are in place. Ideally, nominate a security or cyber security champion to take those things forward to ensure that they happen. Ensure that there's tools or managed services in place to monitor systems and report any problems or incidents. You can do that either with your own tools or preferably via a managed service such as ourselves. Ensure processes are in place and staff are trained and made aware of the risks and the effects of that, and ensure backup tests, and start the route to Cyber Essentials if you haven't already, and ISO 27001 certification, and also review and check your incident response plan regularly, because that really will be key to the new bill that comes in place.
Paul, thanks again. It has to be said that defending against cyber attacks can feel like a a daunting task, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, regardless of government regulations, I mean, part of that is not knowing what can be done, not knowing what they don't know, and who to reach out to help, to get help. Speaking to MSS, anyone will know that they're speaking to a team who's walked in their shoes as an SME and a solution provider to major global entities. So that's a real confidence and comfort factor, without a doubt. In addition to IT infrastructure, legacy system support, hardware and software, I mean, MSS also provides Acronis Cyber Solutions and is a technology partner with Terra Computers, who are coming up next. So we'll hand over to Neil and Monty from Terra, who will share their experiences, insights and guidance. So Neil, over to you.
Thanks, Paul, for highlighting the key messages from the Cyber Resilience Act. I'm Neil Jensen, CEO of Terra Computer UK. I'm here with Monty.
Hi, I'm Monty, Account Manager and Business Development Manager for Terra.
Terra UK are part of the Waldman Group. We're one of the leading MSP providers in Europe for hardware and software solutions. We have over 16,000 MSPs that we work with across Europe. In the UK, we are a key Acronis partner, and in the sense of MSS, we are a technology deliverance partner for them. Would you like to say anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. So, Monty, I think the key thing is what is the difference between cybersecurity and cyber resilience?
Okay, right. So I think, rather than being too technical, the analogy I quite like, which I've seen, is basing it on an old medieval castle. Yes. So if you imagine an old medieval castle and you're under siege, okay? So cybersecurity is basically your walls of your castle and your soldiers trying to prevent an attack. Okay. Cyber resilience is slightly a bit more abstract. Cyber resilience is more of keeping up the whole kingdom. It's a survival plan. So stores provisioning, make sure you've got food and water for the siege, making sure that you've got escape routes and you've got a plan for escape routes. And also if the walls come down, what are you going to do? Okay. And then also to rebuild the kingdom, how are you going to rebuild those walls and rebuild that kingdom to get back to where you first were? That, in basic terms, I think explains it. Yeah, it's different, isn't it? No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, every company at some point in time either has or will have an incident, right? The JLR has been recently, Marks and Splinters, that's two very big UK examples. But I think it's there's so many statistics out there, isn't there?
There is. And I think the way you've got to look at it, it's not, I think every company, doesn't matter your size, how much cybersecurity you've got in place, you are going to have incidents. And it's about recovering from those incidents, how you manage it and recover and get back to normal again. I think the industry, actually, when you look at the industry, look at the media, it's pretty grim. They say over a third of the ransomware attacks are initiated via email, okay, which is, I think it's actually more than that. On some incidents, the average company takes over a month to recover. Now, imagine a month. Imagine you're manufacturing and you've got a product. Well, look at that. That's still ongoing. So, yeah. And then M&S and things like that. So, over a month. And they say just under a third of companies recover within 1 week.
Wow.
Okay. Now, I've got one statistic. So, N2W say that if a company has paid a ransomware attack, 80% of those companies are re-attacked. So, as you said about the terrorism thing earlier, it's
terrorism. Yeah. You shouldn't do it in terrorist, but you have to pay it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, your Cyber Resilience Act, your plan for that is very important. It's not just about the incidents and attacks we're talking about. It's also business continuity. You know, if you get flood or power outage, or it does the whole. Yeah.
And fundamentally, I mean, from Terra and Acronis aspect, I mean, we try to lead things on this
Yep.
the first 3 steps, right?
Yep.
So we've obviously got identify and prepare, we've got protect and detect, and we've got respond and recover.
Yeah.
So I mean, from your point of view, explain to.
Well, I think just going back a step, I think this is really good because people look at the Act and it can be quite overwhelming looking at all the legal documentation and looking at things. I think from Tara and Acronis's point of view, they've simplified it by saying these are the first 3 steps you need to take to get a good foundation of your plan to, for the Cyber Resilience Act. So, identify and prepare. So this is basically a vulnerability assessment. So within Acronis, you've got the tools for OS vulnerability assessment, looking at your endpoints, looking at your network, looking at your systems and see where your downfalls are and then acting on that. So, yeah.
And then there's not just the vulnerability, there's also the proactive.
Yeah. So the proactive threat protection, so that's your malware. So within the Acronis services, you've got your anti-malware services, which helped proactively look at threat detection. You've got behavioural, you've got AI threat detection. So there's a lot within the Acronis product that can help with the protection and threat prevention. Yeah, this is interesting because obviously Acronis has always been renowned for true image and a backup product, and then people hear the name Acronis, they think, oh, it's just a backup product. It's not. It's a whole suite for your cybersecurity. Now, the good thing with Acronis, they are probably one of the world's best in backup. They've done it for years. But it's not just the backup, it's the disaster recovery. And Acronis has lots of tools within their backup for immutable backups. So once you've backed up, you can have immutable backup, so you can't get it encrypted, it can't be hacked or dealt. It's sort of an air-gapped type.
There's a lot of people actually taking backup solutions, but not actually having a recovery solution.
That's right, correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No.
Testing the backups.
Yeah.
And actually, Acronis has that solution where you can actually run a disaster recovery check.
Yeah.
Actually, backup
100%. Yeah. And what's the point of a backup if you haven't tested it? You could be backing up malware and you could be backing up anything. So yeah. Yeah.
There is a high chance you are going to have a high attack.
Yeah.
It's about avoidance, but if you do get attacked, you do have to recover.
Yeah.
DR's really high priority. So I remember we did an Acronis podcast last year. Myself, Paul, Donnelly, and Lawrence, we talked about this quite a bit, and we sort of said actually you should be leading with disaster recovery, not the backup.
100%. Yeah. Well, we've always said backup is just a race to the bottom on cost, isn't it? So, and you've got to have your disaster recovery. Yeah. But Acronis is very good on that point. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to protect and detect. So again, this is basically using Acronis EDR, XDR, and you could look at MDR. Protecting, so advanced threat prevention and detection using those tools within Acronis.
Okay. And then at the last part, step number 3, we're talking about responding and recover.
Yeah. So as we just mentioned regarding the backups and everything, so you've got all your backups, you've got your immutable backups and everything. Now, once you actually see an incident, there's some great tools within Acronis, RMM tools, so monitoring what's happened within a central platform. So it's not spread over different tools and it's hard to manage. You can actually have a central RMM monitoring and management platform to actually start responding to the incidents.
A lot of companies can be offline for months.
Yeah.
So rapid restoration, getting your business online, continuity.
Yeah.
So, but we got the ability with Acronis and us to spin up VMs from a disaster recovery. So we've got the remote management involved in the customer.
Yeah. I think that's key because, a lot of MSPs or tech departments, they're using many tools, various tools. We were talking to a company the other day, they had 12 different vendors from our RMM, PSA, EDR, backup and everything. Now, you have an instance and you need a quick response, you're logging onto different platforms, you've got different statistics, and you want to just see, either red, green and blue, amber light. You want it simple and integrated, and having it all on one platform, I think is
100%,
key. Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I think the key thing is there, coming back to the point about the 3 first steps, is it's the solid foundation you need
yeah,
to get around the COA system,
yeah,
around the COA Act,
yeah,
and then focus on getting your business in the right position to be ready.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But then you come into step 4, which is so-called the 3 pillars of resilience.
yeah,
Right, which is of course people, process, and technology.
yeah.
So what do you think? What's the key?
So okay, so we've done the 3 steps, which I think you've got to do straight away. That builds a really good foundation for your cyber security, and you're starting to protect yourself and backup, and you got disaster recovery. Ongoing within them 3 steps, or after those 3 steps, we say you've got to look at the 3 pillars: people, process, and technology. And it's really simple. People, I think there's some statistics that I don't actually know what it is, but people are a very weak point for security. Human error, yeah.
Majority of it's malware attacks.
Yeah.
And that's a people thing.
Yeah.
So then the key thing.
And phishing, yeah. Yeah.
Training your staff enough to
Yeah.
have awareness.
Yeah.
We have the SAP, the cybersecurity
Yeah.
administrator within the Cronus suite.
That.
And then you bring the people awareness of that. They shouldn't just click and open every email,
Yeah.
click on every attachment.
Yeah.
There should be that step back and look opinion. If it's an unknown person, unknown file.
100%. And I think this is where Cronus are really good, because they have the Cronus Academy, which is massive. I think your policy, you have to train your staff, have to show that you train the staff. The good thing about the SATs, the security awareness training with Cronus, it's all done online. And once you've done it, you're ticked off, you get your certificate, or you can get your certificate, and you've got proof that you've actually done the online training. It's an ongoing thing, because, well, the landscape changes, doesn't it? So the landscape's always changing. So training the staff is a massive key point. Cronus SATs and the Cronus Academy really help on that side of things. Processes. So I think Paul and Ian earlier on will probably talk a bit more about this. This is your process. If there is an incident, I suppose it's a bit like your assembly area at work. If the fire alarm goes off, your procedure is to go out to the car park. You've got to stand over there, and that's a procedure. So with regards your process, if an incident does happen, you have to have clear steps on what to take. How do you, for individuals and for the company and for everybody. So all your processes are in order. Everybody knows what they're doing once something's found, or it's quarantined. It's this. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And everybody knows that, and it's within your processes. And again, like the people, that should be updated, as regular as you can. Yeah. So technology really speaks for itself. So technology, once you've done those first 2 steps, then just looking at your technology, whether it is applications like the Cronus, updating some of the software, or, looking at your network, looking at some old routers, or, any of the equipment to upgrade to make things a bit more efficient and a bit more secure. Perhaps you might have some older equipment that's okay for the minute, but it needs upgrading. Things like that. So,
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, then from my point of view, is obviously it's understanding why did Terra. I mean, Terra UK, we chose a Cronus.
Yeah.
I mean, I know why we chose it, because
Yeah.
we knew they were backup and disaster recovery experts. We've talked about that earlier, but it's the way they've developed it for the cyber protect solutions.
Yeah.
That we've got that single pane of glass for an MSP and effectively the end customer.
Yeah.
That the manpower, training,
Yeah.
all these factors we consider that the fact that they've got an RMM solution, a PSA solution,
Yeah.
malware, SATs, XDR, EDR, MDR,
Yeah.
backup disaster recovery. It's a full one pane of glass
Yes.
solution for an MSP.
I think that's one of the key points that I come across with other vendors and customers, is that the one agent, one pane of glass. It's the training of your staff. You're not training on various different vendors and doing different certification for that vendor, and it's much easier to manage. And then it's the licensing as well. The contracts, licensing, the whole management side of it is much easier. Okay, but then if you've got a customer who likes the sound of that one pane of glass and makes it a lot easier, much more efficient, but let's say they're using another vendor for their PSA because that's more their billing and they've already set up their service desk and everything like that, then one of the key points with Cronus is they've got over 300 integrations now. So you can easily integrate with your PSA vendor. You don't have to change over completely to Acronis, put all your eggs in one basket, but you can do it gradually. And I think that's one of the key selling points as well, is look, do your disaster recovery, perhaps do your EDR, and then other bits use the other integration tools. And they're always developing that, Acronis, It's I think going forward, their roadmap is, I've just seen their new roadmap for 2026, and they're bringing lots more features in and upgrading features, and it's continuous. Yeah.
It's not acquisitions. A lot of our competitors, of course, are acquiring other partners to become a wider solution to fit, to tick all the boxes of all the width of the
100%.
But Acronis is doing everything in house. It's all in house development. It's a great team. The roadmap is aggressive. They listen to partners. They try to reprioritize based upon the market needs. We've seen that recently with certain projects where they had to realign stuff and bring stuff in early.
That's right. And they listen to customer feedback. If a certain customer wants a certain service, they put it forward to their tech department and they look at it and see if they can actually update and achieve it. So
Terra, we're leading with Acronis in the UK. And we obviously MSS for the tech partner of MSS. MSS is using Acronis solutions towards end customers. And obviously we're here to help MSS achieve their goals and their customers' goals to make sure they are resilient enough and fit in the middle for the CRE.
100%.
Great. Well, thanks for your time, buddy.
No problem. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Monty. And of course, thank you, Paul, for the insights that you shared today. For anyone watching this video, our hope is that you'll find that what can appear to be a very confusing, very detailed bill, which is Cybersecurity and Resilience Bill, CSRB, to be manageable and something that you don't need to find so daunting. As you've heard today, there are services, there are accreditations, there's software solutions that can help you not only be compliant, even if you don't need to be compliant, you can use these solutions to be safer, business resilient, and secure. If you need to learn more, please continue watching this Cyber Insights series, or better still, contact us and we'll help you and guide you. Take care. Thank you. Bye.